So I want to take a little bit of extra time in this lesson to give you another video where we are taking a look at how to use support and resistance in the live markets, how to analyze a live market or a few pairs together, because I often see that traders struggle with either drawing too many lines and that they don't know what to do. It's called paralysis by analysis, where you have so many lines and so many things on your charts that you don't really know what to do anymore, where to get in, where to get out, which is the good line, which is the worst, the bad line. And there are many things that you can do wrong, but there are also a few things that will help you improve your support and resistance drawing. So the first important principle is that focus on the most recent price history. If you trade a 30-minute time frame, it is no need to zoom out for weeks and weeks or months even to look at what has price done in the past. What I like to do is just focus on the recent price action and look at where are the closest, most important levels. And here I try to look for the levels and the most important and the strongest turning points on our charts. So the price is currently here, and where do we see the next resistance area? For example, obviously it is just above the current price. We have a previous swing low here, swing high here. Here the price does not respect this level too much, but you can see here in this area there seemed to be a little bit of a like a support and resistance zone. So let me just quickly add here the rectangle pattern to my trading, and here you can see, let's try to see where do we get the rectangle, and we can adjust that a little bit so it's not too annoying on our chart. So here you can see where's the low, and it seems like we are right now in the middle of such a support and resistance zone. Here we do have some confluence, here, clearly some reactions here as well. So I would call them as well noise zones. So we don't enter right at a support and resistance level, especially later when you see trade examples or when we talk about trade entries. You will see that we don't enter right at a support and resistance area, but we wait for certain patterns and certain clues for entering at a market. And I would always recommend stay away from such noise zones. Wait for a clear breakout, maybe to the upside, wait for price to make a certain pattern to the downside. But when you see that you have such a big zone, then wait for a clear signal that the price is moving away. Very nicely we can later use patterns or a moving average to help us identify certain markets and certain signals. To the downside, we have here a very clear one here. I would say this is quite a nice one. You have this swing low area. Even we can extend it back to see, yes, there was a lot of confluence in this area. We do have a support here. We have some resistance here. You can see prices coming back into this level here. And let's see what is happening next time. Again, we are not going to enter right at a support and resistance level. Support and resistance is just a confluence concept where we can identify high impact price areas, significant price areas on our charts, where we then can, with the other tools and with the other signals that we will explore later, time our entries and find good entries. Then let's maybe look for another one to the upside. Here we do have a lot of resistance to the upside. This will be an important level when the price comes back into it. Maybe we can see something like a move back into the level, followed then by a move lower. This could then initiate a short, or let's just look at another one. Maybe the price is even breaking above that. In such a case, we can either try to trade a breakout, or we wait for a retest when the price is coming back into the level, testing it as support, and then moving higher. There are many ways how we can structure such a trade, as we will see later. But support and resistance, just as swing and lows, those are the building blocks of our charts, and we need to understand them so that we can lay a solid foundation. Here I have another support level to the downside, very important one. You can see this was the starting point of this huge uptrend here, so definitely something you need to have on your charts. And now we have a chart which looks okay, looks manageable. We have important price levels above and below the current price that we can deal with. And then when we use our other tools, we can find trades. Let's maybe look at two more examples. To the upside here, we have obviously a very clear double top. We have one resistance, 2 resistance points, very, very clear to the upside. Let's see what we have to the downside. And one rule of thumb is that I always like to use or look for very strong turning points. Those are usually good support and resistance areas. Even if maybe you only have one swing low here, if it is a very strong one, then it's still worth having on your charts. And another little tip, try to push the mouse wheel on your mouse, then you will see these crosshairs coming in, and it will help you also to estimate a little bit where do you have a little bit of confluence, where do you see, for example, here when we put a crosshair here, you can see here we have a little bit even more confluence, which is nice to see. So this is even a level that has worked in the past. If you see that the chart is always jumping back to the front, here is this little green triangle. If you push it or deactivate it, you can scroll back without having your chart jump all the time. Then here's another one that we should have on our charts, even though it's just one single swing low. It is a strong reaction point that we should definitely have on our charts. So we have 2 below current price. We can draw those here at the bottom, but price is still quite far away, so we should not worry too much. Then the question is, do we have another one here, maybe somewhere? There seem to be a level which is only respected some of the time. So you can see we have a swing high. If we make it a little bit lower, we capture this point. If we make it a little bit higher, we capture this point. But here we don't really care too much. This seems to be like a gap, probably a weekend here. We don't care too much here, a little bit here, maybe a little bit, but in the recent price action, not too much. So this level seems to be on and off. Sometimes the traders pay attention to it, sometimes not. So you can choose to avoid such patterns or such levels. You can also maybe have them on your charts, maybe give them even a lighter shade, so you have some color coding for yourself that you know, okay, the darker the better, the brighter, they are not as important. And now what do? We just wait for price to get there. If you are already maybe in a short, depending on the double top, this might be a good way of taking a profit, exiting your trade. If you are looking for a buy trade, maybe this one, or if the price does not respect this one, then wait for a push lower, and then we can maybe get a buy entry here. Or another setup scenario would be we wait for a break, then we wait, do we see a correction wave into the level, and if this retests hold or the pullback, then we can enter a short trade. Yes, so you can see the sense or the purpose of support and resistance is that they help us identify high impact price areas where we can either use them to enter trades based on certain patterns that we will explore later, or we can use them as well for our stop loss or take profit placement. Maybe one more chart and then I think it will become clear. We have here a current chart as well. So let's move this a little bit. And where do we have the current levels below current price? Here's probably one. Let's make this a little bit darker so we can see it better. Here we have one. You can see that here, this is where price is currently, and it seems to be finding even here a little bit of support. Let's talk about this in a moment. But let's see this pattern, or this level seems to be quite a strong one. Here not too much, a little bit, we overshot it a little bit, so it becomes more like a zone. But you can see here this seems to be quite an important one, and the price has found here support multiple times. Let's zoom in to see what we have above current price. Here this one seems to be a very important one. We have resistance and a support. We use the crosshair, we can see not too much, a little bit of reactions. Here seems to be another not too important one. You can see, although price does pay attention to it, sometimes we don't see huge reactions, except for here. This becomes a retest pullback. Here again, retest pullback. So this might be even interesting. What can we expect? Will the price get above that? Then it has done it previously 2 times, come back into it to retest it. So this would be a potential trade idea. It will take a while for price to get there, but it's just here an idea for how we can analyze the market. And what do we have here? Another thing that I would like to just briefly talk is the way the swing points and the trend waves move. So you can see we have our first major trend wave until here, very short correction wave. Again, it shows us already the the sellers are much in control, very little corrective wave. Then we see another push, a little bit of a deeper wave, but the price is immediately falling back very strongly. You can see that here. Now we make another lower low, and this is quite interesting. So we can see the market is pushing into the level, and it seems to be dominated by sellers. But again, we are not going to predict a turnaround. If you're looking for a short, wait for a break below that and see if it holds as a retest, as resistance, and then you can look for a short. If on the other hand we break above this point here, then it might signal a turnaround, because at this point the price seems to be shifting its direction, where we are then breaking above a previous high. So you can see we can already combine that a little bit, what we have learned. Although we are quite at the beginning, all the components will make sense together shortly, and just apply them to the live markets. Pull up a few charts, try to make sense of where do you have your current levels, where do you have problems, and you will see that it will become easier with time, with practice. It's all just a matter of experience. And yeah, just try your luck, see how it goes, and then I will see you in the next video, where we will talk about another concept called trend lines.